That was terrible. Hey guys, Jason the X, I'm back with another review. I think y'all like me doing it like this, so gonna continue to do reviews like this. Hope you enjoy seeing this face. So it hasn't been that long since I talked about Transformers and some random property that they crossed over with. My last one was this Knight Rider figure, the Agent Knight figure, which was a lot of fun. Hold on a second. That still entertains me. We have another one that recently was just delivered today. I pre-ordered this through Walmart because they were having a sale on it for like 28 bucks. I couldn't pass that up. I actually somehow messed up my pre-order on Hasbro Pulse and they canceled the order, but then luckily Walmart decided to do a huge sale. So for 28 bucks, I got the new Mandalorian N-1 Starfighter, which is the newest Transformers crossover that they've done with Star Wars. And I love this thing. This is so very cool. The transformation is simplified, but it looks really good. Now, a lot of you might have forgotten that Star Wars and Transformers did cross over a couple of years ago, and they weren't that great. Some of them absolutely sucked. I had the Millennium Falcon, which had gold plastic on it, and I found it a couple years ago. I was like, oh yeah, this was great. Thing shattered. Every piece of gold plastic on that Millennium Falcon was just decimated. It just crumbled like toffee. But anyway, they've moved on. There have been some hits and some misses in that Star Wars crossover line. This one is definitely a hit. If you can pick this up somewhere, I definitely recommend it. It's just fun and everything integrates so well into this figure. So first off, the box it comes in, very simplified. You got a nice window over here. You got some nice artwork. You got the Mando's N-1 Starfighter there transformed, and some details on the side, mostly just like, it looks like control panels. On the back, you get a sample of everything that the space fighter can do when it's in its transformed mode, and wow, they've included a lot of things in here. Granted, this thing was retailing for like over 50 bucks on Hasbro Pulse, but if you can get it for 28 bucks, absolutely go grab this thing. This is a box. Who cares? Let's talk about the Starfighter. So right off the bat, this is very, very good. It looks like the N-1 Starfighter looked on the show. Now this thing looks fantastic. A perfect representation of what the N-1 Starfighter looked like on the Mandalorian, with all the panels missing. Now the color is kind of a bland gray, I think, but I like it. You can barely see any of the parts. You can kind of see hinges and stuff in there, but going back onto that long tail, you've got the engine nacelles over here, clear blue plastic used for the cockpit, which it opens up where Grogu would have sat. This one does not. Now, there are no minifigures with this, so there's not really a need for an opening cockpit, but just got the distressed gold, the cannons picked out in black. There's not a lot of paint apps on this guy. Now, if you get underneath, you can start to see where that's going to clearly be part of the Mandalorian right there. But otherwise, this is a very clean ship mode, not showing a lot of kibble, and looks really fantastic. Not to mention, this thing is very, very swooshable. If you know what I'm saying, it just has that swoosh, just whoosh, whoosh. And if you add things like the included stand in there, it even makes it better. Like, this thing integrates a lot of what we see in the bot mode into this mode, especially coming up with a stand for it. This was some great engineering here. Now, starting to get into some of the accessories that we see before we transform him, this thing does give us our money's worth. It comes with this piece, which, while functioning as the stand, it also turns into the shield for when you transform him into his robot mode. And it's got that rhino creature embossed on there. Translucent plastic that seems very, very sturdy. Inside, you have a stem that's gonna go right there. Now, this can be used to actually hold the little pod as it comes off, where Grogu would sit. So it's kind of like having the pram, you know? Yeah, not too shabby how they just introduced that. But this part, which becomes the cape of the Mandalorian when he's, well, the bot mode's cape. So you have 4 tabs on this stem, which correspond with 4 slots on either side of the cape. And there is one way to get it on, because if you try the other way, it won't. So you just want to kind of do it this way, fold it around the stem, pin the other 2 tabs in there, and there you have the stand for flight mode. But we're not done. He has blast effects. There are two types that we're going to use on the rifle that we see on the bot mode and the smaller blaster. But he does have two blast effects which are very similar to each other, and they are going right on the front of the vehicle. Yeah, so he is blasting away there. Beware anything that gets in his way. I always like those two guns up front. It was very much like the old school kind of Spitfire jets back in the day when they did dogfights. That's not all. You also get these other two blast effects, which almost seem like reused fireballs in Street Fighter. But what these do is they go on the back of the engines. These go on the nacelles to give a basic nacelle. That's a Star Trek reference, sorry. But to give kind of an engine-y effect. Now, I do have some problems getting these on here, and given the delicate nature of those little stems, I don't know how much I want to push those on there, but it does look very good like this. And you still have two other blast effects, a stand. Tell me we're not getting our money's worth, especially at the discounted rate I got this for. Whew. I would definitely heat these up a little bit before you put them on there. It is rather cold in here, so maybe they're just like not giving, but I think it's gotten easier the more I do it. But hey, this is a transformer, so let's get it transformed. Now, another kind of accessory, it becomes the rifle in robot mode, is the tail just pops off just like that. You also want to pop off the pram portion of it, and you can just put that right on there, boom. So we just want to start with the front of the cockpit. These are layered. You want to do this side first, then this side, there you go. We also want to pop up these on the engine parts right here in the middle. It's just a little half moon crescent piece. You want to pick that up. Now we can take this part and rotate it over. And here is the head. We pop that right out of there. As far as the back now, you can kind of start closing this up using that same method like it did when you opened it up. There you go. Next, we can kind of start working on these arms. You just want to push these up into the body and rotate them down, and that starts the arms up. Then we want to work on the chest piece, which is the back of the Starfighter. Pick it up from here, start to push it up. There is a little tab right underneath the cockpit, which kind of fills in the top of the chest. You want to push that out, start folding here, and then you can, oh, I'm sorry. You also want to push in these two parts here, because they're going to go inside of the chest cavity. But now that should give you the clearance you need to turn this around. Actually, you want to fold that in there before you start turning that around. Once you get it here, you can kind of start moving it about. Make sure that chest piece doesn't fall down like it just did. Turn it around, and then you can tab it in like so. The forearms are break open in half, and you can pull the fists out, which have a nice little triangular Mandalorian, that little thing, the little triangle he had on the back of his gloves. I like that. Open up the other one, bring out the fist, and you've got his arms in place. He does have these huge engines like right up by his head, but this is a bot mode. It's not supposed to be the Mandalorian. Now that we've done that, we can turn it around. We want this facing the front. You want to split the legs a little bit, and then the feet actually fold up inside. Unfold those on this hinge right here. Once those are unfolded, you can start opening up the legs, bring them down, and then you want to rotate this piece down and rotate this piece here. So that way it's going to fold into the back of the leg, kind of like in that same slot that it did when it was in its spaceship mode, and then fold the foot up, boom. Same thing with the other side, rotate this down, push it into the back of the leg, fold the foot up, and there you go, and turn them around. You also have a little holster over here, and that's for his blaster. Also, you just want to flip these back in. It's going to make sense in a bit. And that tail section of the N1 is going to fold up and in, and there you're going to have like his disintegration rifle. Also, there's a tab down here. It's going to have a peg to plug into his hand. And taking a closer look at those accessories, this is the rifle, and it looks really good. But also, you have this teeny tiny little blaster, very reminiscent of what you see in the show. And that's going to correspond with these two blast effects right here. So before we finish off, you want to take the cape piece off of here, just like we tabbed it in. You have a square peg right on the back of there, which is going to correspond to this hole on the back of the Mandalorian, or this Naboo Starfighter. Plug that in, and there you go. I do find it is a little bit pressed, because of these two parts right here, but it is a cape. He has a cape in the show. Also, he's got a little built-in holster on the side that you can actually fit the blaster in. And I tried it, you can leave this in here for transformation. It seems like the legs kind of have a little bit of problem pegging in, but they work. You can leave this in the holster. I had pretty good success with it, didn't notice any stress marks or anything. So yeah, give that a shot. Now let's arm him up. We want to put that blaster in one hand over here, preferably the one that he draws with. And it is a little dinky, considering everything, but you've got this huge rifle over here. It's right into the hand with a little satisfying click. And you can also take this peg out and put it right in any of the pegs on his arm, and there you have his energy shield. Also, these blast effects are compatible on pretty much anything, but yeah, they look pretty good inside of the weapons. And the ones that you previously used inside the guns, yeah, those peg right into those same guns on the back, so it looks like his jetpack is going off here. And getting an even closer look at this Mandalorian N-1 Starfighter transformer, it looks really good. Not without its faults, but I mean, this is a fun piece. I don't think any of the crossover pieces really come out like superb, just like knock it out of the park. They're just cool pieces to have, but I really like the N-1 Starfighter and I like the Mandalorian, so this hits everything for me. This is gonna look great on the shelf, and it's a great representation. It looks a lot like the Mandalorian will look. If this was going to be something in Star Wars, I could dig it, I could see it. Now, it's not without its faults. Like I said, it does come at a hefty price point. One thing is the cape really has a problem staying pegged in. These tend to kind of push it out. You can angle the cape a little bit more to allow these a little bit more clearance. Also, I'm seeing that the arms, when you push them up into the body, sometimes they have a hard time staying in if you move the arms about. Right now, they're pretty stable. Just kind of, when you tab them in, just back them up a little bit. There are some pegs that they will fall under, but they are meant to detach so that you can turn this thing back into the N-1 Starfighter. So maybe that's by design, but honestly, it's a really good piece. And I did like when they had these Star Wars Transformer figures. You've even got a little detail on the side here. Looks like those knee rockets like Boba Fett did. Did he have knee rockets? I don't think we ever saw the knee rockets. Blaster details, could be like the whistling bird thing. This is very cool. Now, as far as articulation, you do get some nice ankle tilts, mainly due to transformation, or it could be by design, honestly. It does fall in rather well. They will tilt backwards and forwards. You've got double knee joints here. One of them almost seems like it's kind of the complaint I had about that cape. But anyway, double jointed knees. I will go ahead and take these blast effects off so you can see that. Can go all the way back, kick his own butt. You do get a waist swivel. Very nice, a little bit loose. The arms are on hinges and they will rotate on a peg there. It is a little bit hindered by this engine piece. The elbows 90 degrees, but you do get tilts at the, twists at the wrist. And the head is on a very nice ball joint. We get a couple things, it's kind of shallow. Won't go back too far. So flight poses a little bit hindered. Now this isn't a very big figure. As you can see, I have one of the best Mandalorian figures that were released this year. From the top of his engine, it's about 7 3/4 inches. So yeah, he's not that much bigger than a 6-inch Black Series figure. But still, don't judge it by its size. It's very good. Hi, kitty. I know. I'm trying to talk to the people here. Do you mind? But yeah, guys, this is a great piece. And if you can find it, I definitely recommend picking it up. If you're a Star Wars fan, if you're a Transformers fan, this guy is gonna go well in the collection. It's just that nice. It really knocks it out of the park. The crossover figures have been nailing it with things like the Party Wallop, Agent Knight, Ghostbusters. I mean, they really seem to go out for these, and I wonder if they're ever going to be able to reuse this into anything. I don't think so. It's pretty unique. So definitely go pick this guy up if given the chance. Now, it's not going to end up in my top 10 for the year. Probably not, but I tell you, I really like it as a fan of Star Wars and Transformers. And if you like any one of those things, this should be on your buy list. Anyway, guys, I'm Jason the X. Thank you for watching the video. Like, subscribe. Make sure you look for other things that we're going to be coming up. My cat is like No, I'm sorry, go away. Look for other things that we'll be coming up with soon, including some giveaways. As always, keep on nerding. I'll catch you on the next one.